Hi everyone, welcome to another Flosstube video, or welcome back. This is Flosstube number 70 and today we're going to talk about cross stitching, a lot of it. I have been away for 101 days and I have been cross stitching a lot. But before we head into that, I just want to kind of let you know where I've been. There has been like two main things. One, I was in autism burnout. I basically didn't do anything else than just sit and stitch for almost 2 months. I was just so exhausted and so burnt out, and all I needed was my little bubble and just recharging in that little bubble. I did go to Cyprus for a week with my brother and his family, and it was really nice. I do wish that I would have been a little bit more in my mind and functioning a little bit better, but otherwise it was really nice. We just ate and chatted and got a little bit of sun, a little bit of heat. Can't complain about that. Then after all of those things, I started a new job. So like the wrap up to the new job, of course, stressed because new job, not knowing what I'm gonna get. And then getting to the job and having like autistic meltdowns every day when I got home. Like I broke down every day when I got home. And like, there's something wrong here. I need to figure out why this is happening. And it was very simple in the end. And that is the company didn't have the structures that I need. It's a very small company. The CEO is also my direct manager and everyone else's direct manager, and he's also kind of head of tech, and it's like he has a lot of hats. And for me, I need to have people to talk about the different things, and I found myself not being able to cope with that with him having all the hats, because it didn't have the time that I needed. For me, when I start a new company, I need a very thorough onboarding. He didn't have time with that. I need to have the structures, knowing what to do and where I'm going to start and all of those. He didn't have time with that. So there was a lot of those things, and I think there are developers out there that can just jump in and do the things, and they might be better for their company. There's nothing wrong with the company. The company as a whole was great. The people at the company was great. I didn't leave because something nefarious happened. I just left because it just didn't function for me, and I'm super happy that I actually listened to myself. And as it happens, towards the end, I actually got in contact with a company I worked for before, which I really liked, which I left for, not because of them, I left for other reasons. I was a consultant and I left the consultant company, and due to contracts and stuff, I couldn't move on to them. I had to move on to somewhere else. So really happy that we got in contact, and after some communications, they kind of, your co-worker where you worked before, this was like 2019, 2020, he is leaving the company and we have a spot open. So I'm basically stepping into where I was before. It's just a couple of years later, like 5 years later. But yeah, so it's really great. I'm not doing it until the 13th of August, but that was a choice I made because the manager is going on vacation, and I felt that we are going to give myself all of the good possibilities and good vibes to be able to do this right, because we're not leaving. I just want a job that I enjoy with people that I enjoy. So yeah, that was basically everything. That's just a little bit over 4 minutes, so not so much more happened. Most of the things, I did meet a lot of fun people. I did meet a friend of mine. I actually finished a project. Let's start with that, just because I haven't really started with the cross stitching yet. Here is a picture of what I finished. So I have a friend, we meet like every 2 years. I really need us to meet more. She's super nice, really like her. And it's just like we're ships passing in the night now, but so we haven't seen each other for 2 years. But last time I met her, I was cross stitching in all of the bee designs, and she told me that she wanted to have a bee tattoo. And I'm like, you like bees, I'm gonna make something with bees for you. In this case, around the same time, that was when Bendy Stitchy had, in one of the Just Cross Stitch magazine, had a bee assisi, and I've been wanting to try an assisi design and see if I like them, and I actually really did. But it was like a beehive with little bees around it. I really loved stitching it, and I'm like, I'm gonna do something with it. And 2 years later, like on the eve before meeting up with her, I finally did this, which is a little book sleeve. So it's basically just open at the top. It is made with like foam on the inside, so it's quite stable. And then you just put your book inside of it. I actually gave it to her with a yellow dotted journal, and she really liked dotted journals, and it was yellow, so it matched the bee design. I thought that was fun, and also I added a little IKEA bee. Those are little bee plushies you can get in IKEA, and it has a little thing that you can attach a key string or something on it on the back of it. So I just added it to the little book sleeve, and that was kind of that was really one of those things that really got me out of, or knew that I was out of my meltdown or my burnout, because like creativity was kind of flowing again. So super happy. Let's get into the actual stitching that I've been doing in the past 110 days. So a little quick statistics. Oh, words. There have been 110 days. I have stitched 86 of them because I found a game. If you have watched like Crafting Jamie, I think she is, or something like that, here on YouTube, she will be linked in the description down below if you want to go watch her videos. She does stitch a lot of like game inspired designs. She also like gaming and reading, just like me. So yeah, she's awesome. But anyhow, she's been talking about Fantasy Life, the girl who stole time. I have been gaming on my Switch. First on my Switch 1 and then my Switch 2 when it came. So there was a lot of gaming in there. So 24 non-stitch days, but 86 stitch days is quite a lot. So we do have some stitching. I have worked on 17 projects and I've stitched 81,951 stitches. I'm gonna say it again. 81,951 stitches. That is a lot of stitching. It's a lot of stitching. That is the like stats for that. But we are going to go into stats for all the projects. We are going to start off with our finishes. And I'm going to tell you today, I have written everything down. I love my Notion, I use my Notion, but I've realized it is better to have something organized to read from when I show you. So if you see me looking down, I'm gonna try not to, but if you see me looking down, it's because I have all of my notes here, and it's actually multiple pages. That is how much I've stitched. The first finish of this period, I finished it on the 30th of March 2025. Started this on the 31st of December 2024. So this is one of my 12 by 12 New Year starts. This is Enchanted Autumn Cabin by Flossy Fox Shop. It was in the Just Cross Stitch magazine, Autumn 2024. And it is stitched on 32 count black even weave in the Charted DMC. And since I showed you the last time, I have stitched 2,470 stitches. And this is the design. Look, it is a finish. It is lovely. I have a black frame. One of those that you're supposed to paint on, like a canvas, like a block canvas that is black, that I'm going to put this on. I just haven't. To be honest, I just haven't. But that is Enchanted Autumn Cabin by Flossy Fox Shop. So that was my first finish, and as I said, that finish was done on the 30th of March. So I did a bunch of other stitching before, but we are going through finishes, then works in progress, and then starts. new starts. So that is how it's gonna be. Then we have another one, which also is a NYE new start, NYE 12 by 12. So this was started the 31st of December. It was finished the 1st of April. So this is what I picked up after I finished the Enchanted Autumn Cabin. This is from the Just Cross Stitch magazine Autumn 2024. So the same magazine as the previous one. It is stitched on 32 count vintage country mocha even weave, and I have stitched 2,174 stitches since you last saw it, and that is a finish. So it is stitched on with the charted DMCs. So it's super cute. I do have a little mistake in this. One of the books are actually in the wrong place. Everything else is correct. So I missed that, I miscounted that, but it's a book stack. Yeah, I think I moved the house to make it more work a little bit better. And it, like, the design is even. I don't know if the house is even. Yeah, the house is even, but the inner design is not. So it doesn't matter if you shifted one stitch on one side or one stitch on the other. So that was how I kind of... Because it wasn't until I made the house that I realized that I have moved one of the books, but it didn't really matter. But yeah, that is my second finish of the past 3 months. After that, I started and finished a design that I haven't got with me here. So this is the design. It is a ATC for the retro arcade themed ATC swap. This is a design by Poppy Benner. It was in the World of Cross Stitching magazine of March of 2025. It is stitched on 32 count white even weave in the charted DMC. I started on the 21st of April, I finished it on the 21st of April, and then I put it together with papers. I think all of the papers here are from Doodlebug, like most of the papers I use for my ATCs. So yeah, that is that. It had 838 stitches. Sometimes you get photos when I ship things. The next design I have is a Mill Hill kit. So the Spring Bouquet 2025 designs came out earlier this year, and it takes some time for things to arrive at my place, even though I ordered the day they are announced, and I ordered directly from Witchelt that does the Mill Hill kit. They have a long processing time, 4 to 6 weeks. They do have like a feature that you can subscribe to the kits. However, you cannot do that when you live outside of the US, which is a little bit sad. So mine come a little bit late, but I have them. They are in the store. So if you like any of these, just let me know, or head to my Etsy, which is always listed in the description down below. So the first I have is Positively Love, and I said it's the Spring Bouquet collection here from 2025. It is perforated paper with kit, beads and threads. It started the 23rd of April. I finished it at the 24th of April, and it's 976 stitches and or beads. And that is the design. The light in here doesn't really make these like glitter a lot, but it is a gorgeous piece. I really love it. It's super, super, super beautiful, and I really want to get it up. I want to display more of my little Mill Hill ornaments, because I found a box. If you can see, it's a different background, and that is because we have moved so many things in this apartment. When we've gotten most of all of my craft supplies just in this room, we removed some furniture and added others. I want to display more things here because I have more wall space and everything. The next is also a Mill Hill Spring Bouquet kit from 2025, and that is a vintage alarm clock. This is again perforated paper, 14 count. It is DMC and beads. It has 1,312 stitches and or beads. I count the beads as stitches when I count them, so that is where we are with that. I started it the 24th of April and finished it the 25th. 5th of April. So another finish, and I really like it. It's such a bright clock. They're so nice. And I have a lot of the ornaments. So again, if you want to find them, they're in my store. They will be linked in the description down below. So next project, which is this, is my pride. This is the project. I am so happy about it. I am so proud of it, and it's a swap project, and I finished it yesterday. So this is the Supernatural swap. So the swap is fanatical fandoms, and basically any fandom except HP were allowed to be. It's a swap, so you write down what your likes are, what your what's your favorite fandoms, what your favorite characters. You write down a little bit about yourself, and then you are randomly get a person. You just randomly get a person. So it's not a one-to-one swap. It's one to many, or it's not one to many, but I don't know. I'm not giving my swap to the person that is giving their swap to me. So that's kind of how it is. And this is what I did, because they liked Supernatural, which is the TV series Supernatural. Their favorite character was Dean. So what I did, I took a quote from Dean, which demons I get, people are crazy. And then I used the Witchy Stitcher's Stitch Along, called Supernatural, picked out 5 of the beings, and I hanged them underneath. So they are all stitched on vintage Stormy Grey. It is charted in the DMC. This I charted myself. These were charted by Witchy Stitcher and designed by Witchy Stitcher. It is in total 5,255 stitches. I started on the 13th of May with the stitching. I finished it the 19th of May with the stitching, and then it took me about 3 to 4 days to do this finish. So here they are, all of the little designs also. So I kind of pair them. In the middle is the unicorn. We have the demon and the angel on one side. And then we have the siren and the banshee, because I thought they kind of paired nicely. And then I have this beautiful fabric. I'm in love with this fabric. It just violet with these like golden accents or golden details. Really love it. And I paired it with that. And on the back I just added these little rings, so you can hang it up where you want it. So yeah. That is the greatest finish of them all. I really love that. I'm super happy about it, and I hope that the swappy that is going to get this package also likes it. I did add some extras in the swap. You're also supposed to add extras. So the swappy will from me get a pouch. It's black in the middle with a black zipper, and then it has the same fabric. A pair of yellow scissors, because I don't have gold ones. I like, okay, gold, yellow, a little yellow thread hook. These are amazing. And then a couple of my bee thread cards on a little ring. So that is the full swap package that I'm giving away. So yeah, really love that. That was super fun. And then for the last of my finishes, this is, in reality, it's not a finish, but I kind of made it a finish anyhow. So this is greenwashing. It's actually now named Forest Mosaic, and you can get it at the Sprouting Lupines Etsy store. But when I bought it as a part of a Earth charity package, and it is stitched on 32 count vintage country mocha in the charted DMC. I started it as a part of my NYE 12x12, so on the 31st of December 2024, and I finished it on the 2nd of April. And it's really supposed to be a full circle, but I felt it really looked really great in this state, and I decided that I just don't want to make more leaves. I'm not a mandala person, okay? I realize that I'm not a mandala person. So I'm not gonna do any more of the leaves. Instead, this is where I am going to leave it. So yeah, that is greenwashing by spruting long pine, or forest mosaic. And as usual, all of these things are linked in the description down below. So if you want to, if I have links, I will have, they will be down there. So if there's any of the projects that you like, that you want to go and find online, find it in the description down below. So yeah, that was all of my finishes. So Whip Go, there have been 6 Whip Go numbers drawn since the last time that we met. To be honest, it actually have been 8. But I haven't stitched on the 2 last ones. But we are going to go through all of those 8 different draws. So the first one is going to be Christmas House 1. I pulled Christmas House 1 for number 4 in April, number 19 in May, and number 21 in June. So in reality, I should have stitched 4,500 stitches on it, because my rule is 1,500 stitches or 4 days, whatever comes first. Now, I have been in autism burnout, and when I'm there, I do enjoy stitching on the same thing over and over again, and full coverages is really soothing for my soul, mainly because I don't have to make that many decisions, and I don't have to move the frame that often. I did stitch extra. I ended up stitching 12,380 stitches on this. So because we're in the Whip Go part of it, or in the whip part of it, let's start with this. This is Christmas House 1. Christmas House 1 is by Artisy. It is sharded by Artisy. It is designed by Steve Crisp. So this is how it's gonna look. This is how it looked before. It is stitched on 25 count white even weave, and it's stitched with a sharded DMC. I started the project on the 8th of December 2018. As I said, this was how it looked before, and this is how it looks now. I have stitched, let's see, can't see the book when I'm holding this up. So I have stitched 12,380 stitches since you last saw it. I have done so much progress. I am super happy, and I'm finally started with the upper part of the house there. I am so happy. I have super much really enjoyed stitching on this, and I think I also met my halfway goal on this for the year. I have very just putting the finger up in the air and feeling where things goes, put goals on all of my whip goes, or all on my full coverage. My whip goes are my full coverage, and my goal for my full coverage is 30,000 stitches. Whip Go will not get me to 30,000 stitches. In reality, I need to put in almost 2,500 stitches on each project every month to be able to get to this goal. However, with me just sitting and stitching, I have actually reached the halfway goal on many of my projects. And this project is now 41.1%. The next project, my next Whip Go draw, is Sloth. And Sloth got April 10th and May 5th, and with that I'm supposed to get to 3,000 stitches, and I got to 3,118. So this is Sloth. It is by Heaven and Earth Designs, sharded by Heaven and Earth Designs. It's designed by Martha Dalig. It is part of the 7 Sins, and I previously made Wrath and Envy. So this is the 3rd one for me in the series, and I'm really getting bored. I started on the 1st October of 2020. The last time I showed you this, I was at this place. Yeah. And now I'm only 3,000 stitches later, and this is where we are. I don't know if I will get to 30,000 stitches this year, because this is not fun. It doesn't have any variety, it doesn't have small changes, it is just the same color over and over and over. So I'm not sure if this will be a goal finished or if I'm just gonna put it aside. I might. I had a new start and that might replace this in my whip go. But yeah, that is where we are with that. So for the third and final project that I've stitched on for my whip go, it is Rose Library. It is designed by Evie Delamore and sharded by Unconventional Cross Stitch. It is stitched on 25 count easy count by Zweigart with the sharded DMC. This is where it was last time I've showed you this, and I had one whip go pull for this in June, the number 23 in June. That is where it is. I started this the 19th of December 2024, and I have stitched 4,290 stitches on it, so almost 3 times what I was supposed to, and here it is. Here it is. I am having so much fun with this. It is gorgeous, and I really just want to get into the witches because there are 2 very pastel witches in it in the Rose Library. But yeah, here we are. That is where we are. This will actually come out this month because I got it pulled for number 2. So I will get at least 1,500 stitches with it then. However, I do want to get up to the 1,500 stitches 15,000 stitches fairly quickly. So it might be a little bit lingering a little bit longer in my frame. That was all of my whip go draws. I did get one more pull for July, and that is Gamer Nouveau for number 16. And as it happens, getting into our regular whips that wasn't pulled for whip go this past 3.5 months, it's actually Gamer Nouveau. So yeah, Gamer Nouveau actually came out this period. I stitched 7,302 stitches on it, so that's quite a lot. This is Gamer Nouveau. It is designed by Medusa Dollmaker, and I have the pattern that was sharded by Gecko Rouge. This pattern is now sold, or this design is now sold by Medusa Dollmaker, and she has done her own sharding, knowing that it will most likely not look as the same if you would purchase it from her than there. However, I love her designs, so I will most likely buy more patterns from her. This is where it was before the last time you saw it, and this is where it is now. Look at that. I am continuing to working across. I really love this. I'm having so much fun. And as I said, I've stitched 7,302 stitches and it has 30.7% done. I know that I missed a couple for the rest of them, but hey, you'll get that in the next video they come up. So yeah, that was my first whip from my little whip pile. Let's get into the next one. So the next one is Pretty Python. It is for my Year of the Snake Sow. I have actually gotten a lot stitched. I plan to stitch for it so that I could get it to 50% because the idea is I'm going to finish this within this year. So when the new Chinese New Year comes, I can pick a project that matches that year. I kind of got a little bit overzealous because I really enjoyed stitching on it, so I'm at 61.7%. This is design. It is by Needle Lot Designs. She does so many lovely designs. It is stitched on 32 count vintage country mocha. It is with a sharded DMC. I started it on the 29th of January 2025, the start of Year of the Snake. This is how it looked before, and I stitched 2,784 stitches. And here we are. Look at that. It is gorgeous. I really love the dimension. I really love this design. It is gorgeous and I really need to pick it up and stitch a little bit more on it. But yeah, that was the next. Now we have my last work in progress. The rest we have is new starts because I did a few new starts this turn. This last one is this. It is Paris Market by Dimension. I started it the 13th of May 2024. It is a memory piece for my grandmother on my father's side. So this goes under hashtag farmorsal, which farmor is the Swedish word for grandmother on your father's side. So father's mother, basically. And Paris Market Sale, hashtag Paris Market Sale, because we were a few people who started the Paris Market. This is where it was before. And yeah, I didn't say, this is a kit by Dimension. It is stitched on 16 count Aida with all of the kit materials, also the kit Aida, but I did wash the kit Aida before, so it's much softer. I stitched 11,053 stitches on this. 11,053 stitches. And that is a mixture of cross stitches and half stitches. I also made 1 trillion French knots, but none of those are counted because this whole project is just filled with French knots. Just filled with French knots. But yeah, that is where we are so far. I really got the busiest part done. When I left off, I finished off this road. My plan had been to work from here and up. However, I got new frames after I got this, and I could fit the frame. I could fit it almost fully in the frame. So I'm just been stitching from the bottom up. Not my preferred way of stitching. I wanted to stitch at it from a different corner than I'm usually stitching, and I will not do that again. I will always stitch from the top down because I much more prefer that. But yeah, this is where it is. I am super happy with the progress. We're at 41.1% though, and I wished I could be at 50. So it hopefully can come out a little bit later this year. I do have a goal of 15,000 stitches this year, and that goal is actually finished. So that is done. That was the last thing I did, was to make sure that I could get that done. The last section that I have today is new starts. I have a few of them. So first we have this one. It is Church Christmas Ornament. It is by Dimension. It is stitched on 18 count Aida with all the kit threads and the kit Aida. This one I didn't wash the fabric, so the fabric is much stiffer. I have stitched in total 1,819 stitches. We're at 42.2%, and here is the design. I think I saw Calico Whimsy stitching on her ornaments, and I was like, I really need to get into stitching on my ornaments. And I took this with me when I traveled to Cyprus. I did not stitch a lot on my journey to Cyprus, however I did stitch this mostly before I left for Cyprus. So I started on the 9th of April and we went to Cyprus on the 12th. So I did get like 3 days of stitching, 1,800 stitches on it. So I really want to get back into that. So I haven't put it out of the frame. Also, it shows the whole design in the frame at the moment. So I just left it in there. Next project is this one. It is Sailing Ship. It is designed by Amanda Butler, and it is from the Cross Stitch magazine, February 2025. I really love this design. I want to give it to my little brother. It is stitched on 32 count white even weave in the sharded DMC, and I got 6,826 stitches done, and it's only 34.1%. I really didn't think it would be that many stitches, but it is. And here we are. I gotten the first, like the top of the sails done. I'm really happy about how much I did get done when I worked on it. I started on the 30th of April and I stitched, on the 3rd of April, and I stitched, as I said, 6,826 stitches, and then I took a break. So really love the design. Another one I really need to get back into. It was super fun stitching on that. I had a little surprise new start that not even I knew I would do. So when we were in Florida in November, I kitted up 3 full coverage, I think. Yeah, I think I kitted up 3 full coverages, where Rose Library was one, and then I have 2 other unconventional stitches projects. I usually don't kit up projects fully this way. However, with the Gamer Nouveau, I bought it as a kit, and I really, really appreciate having all of the threads just dedicated to the project. So I decided to do the same, and I'm loving it. I really enjoy doing so. But I did kit up 2 other projects, and one of them was Cauldron of Myrrh, which is a mermaid. And I decided I wanted to have a mermaid start. And the whole thing was I was supposed to going to show you all of this on like Instagram and YouTube and everything, and then my mental space wasn't in social media and haven't been in social media for like 3.5 months. So hopefully I will get back to it now. But this is Cauldron of Myrrh. This is what it's going to look like. It is by Unconventional Stitches, and it's again designed by Ivy Delamore. So the same designer that made the Rose Library. And that was also one of the reasons that I kind of decided I'm not going to start it right now. And then I realized I didn't really have something for mermaid, and I really wanted to stitch something mermaid, and then I just stitched. Because this is on 25 count Easy Grid Even Weave by Zweigart. I'm going to move the threads so that you can actually see the design. I stitched 15,570 stitches. Just in one go. Just in one go. That was just insane. I've gotten so much done. You can see this is the top of the hat. You have all of the little details. It was so much fun stitching on this. And as you can see, I have still do diagonals, but I'm not doing those very, very strict diagonals. I'm working a little bit more loosely, and it makes stitching really, really fun. But I did 15,570 stitches. I have 9.9%, and to compare to Rose Library, I only have 6.9% done on Rose, but Rose is much bigger also. But I've got 9.9% done, and I'm thinking of actually replacing Sloth in my Whip Go goals with Cauldron of Myrrh, because I really, really enjoy this. I really enjoy stitching on this. It is gorgeous. I'm having super much fun. I'm like, maybe I just gonna put this in instead, and try to get to 30,000 stitches on that. So I basically not only replacing it in Whip Go, I'm also replacing the whole goal, because I'm really not enjoying Sloth. It's not tickling my brain the way I needed to. So that was my next to last design. I have one more design which I actually started it on the 28th of May because I took it with me to my Botox appointment. So I did stitch a bunch on it, 94 stitches worth on it at my appointment, or not at my appointment, but before my appointment. So on the train right there, and while I waited for my time to come up. Then I just didn't touch it until yesterday, and I have actually gotten loads done yesterday and today. I've stitched 1,003 stitches in total, so basically minus 94, that's around 900 stitches in 2 days, so it's gone fairly fast. I only have one color of cross stitches left, and then I go into the beading, so I will most likely get this done by the end of the day. It's going to be my evening project. I'm at 67.5%. It's actually one of the more intense stitch projects for a ornament, because it is basically full coverage. Usually you get some kind of cutout, but this is just full coverage. But I really, really love that one. It is gorgeous. Again, it's one of the spring bouquet from 2025. I'm really enjoying my little nails at the moment. But yes, that was all of the stitching I have done. I have done a little bit of crocheting. I have none of it with me. I did finish a shirt for my brother's smallest daughter. She's turning 2 this year in October. So I knitted her a wool shirt for the fall. So that I have finished and I have given to her. And then I have like 3 or 4 projects in the go. I also have done a pot holder, like just a simple pot holder. I need to have a simple crochet on it project to have when I have meetings. I have that with meetings and on my way back and forth to work at my new job. That isn't my new job anymore. I've done a little bit of other crafting, but mostly it's cross stitching because it's one of those things that really soothes me, especially like when I'm in that burnout, because it was really a burnout. I realized why and how and everything. I'm not going to go into all of those details. But when I'm there, I need to take care of my autism. My ADHD is going to run rampant. And because of that, everything that I start, it's not gonna satisfy me because I need to satisfy the autistic side of me. I need calmness, soothness, I need all of those things. So stitching on full coverage stitching is just awesome. It's just awesome. That was this week's video. I hope you liked the first of all, what do you like? My thread, my thread wall. I now actually have a thread wall, which I'm super happy about. Awesome. Don't mind the rubbed here. We had our bed here before and it's actually rubbed. The paper is paper thin here, the wallpaper, so it ruined the wall. I just haven't fixed it. Don't mind that, please. So I have my little thread wall, I have my sewing machine and everything, and I have a little, this is where I put my frames when I work on them. So before this recording, I actually had all of my frames with projects in there, so I just can pick a project and start working, which also something I really enjoy. But yes, that was probably all for this video. I'm not going to be away for another 3 months. It's not going to happen. But I either be back in 2 weeks' time or at the end of the month, because I'm not sure with timing. Christopher have another 2 weeks before he goes on vacation. As I said, I'm in between jobs. I'm going to start my next job in August. So I have about a month and a half before that. And I'm just going to take it easy and, well, I'm going to work a lot with my store. Having the capacity and the brain capacity, that is what I'm going to do. So we'll see. I'm not going to get as much cross-stitching done even though I'm off. So probably in 2 weeks' time or in a month's time, we'll see. We'll see when I arrive in your... and then next time in your video. But I will try to share more on Instagram, so if you also want to follow me there, it is marika.stitches on Instagram, so you can find me there and I will be sharing my projects. I usually, not this time, but I usually share my mailhook kits like in my stories, so you can get almost like every color or a little bit like every hour of project from these mailhook kits, because they usually take me about a day. So usually what I do is I stitch a collar if it's possible. This had the collar in multiple places, so it wasn't as easy, but I stitch a collar and then I take a photo, and I do this for my friend and then I put them on also on my stories. So if you enjoyed that kind of content, you can follow me there and you can find it in my stories. I'm thinking about making little like highlight reels of all of these kind of projects there. Kind of fun. But yes, that is all for me now. Sorry for being away so long. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please thumbs it up. It means a lot to me. Comment down below anything. I want to hear about your day. I want to hear about what have you been up to in the past 3 months, because hey, it's been 3 months. Do you have any projects that are just like tickling your brain? All you want to do is work on that project. I know that I need to go back into Gamer and Rose Library because they're tickling my brain and they're my Go goals. So yeah, I'm going to end it here, but I will see you back here in like 2 weeks to a month. I hope you enjoy your summer and I'll see you there. Bye! Have a great day and week and month.